Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel, Mr. Balloons, and today we're doing Game Week 14 predictions of the Premier League. Now, I'm going to be starting off on the 29th of October. It's going to be Leicester City at home against Manchester City. I'm going to predict Manchester City, the obvious winners, to win it 2-1. The reason why I think it's going to be so close is Leicester, they're starting to pick up form. They're starting to, actually play somewhat good. They obviously can score goals, and I think, really, Man City, they've drew against Aston Villa in the past, so maybe a draw could be against Leicester at the King Power Stadium. But I'm going to go with the obvious winner, Manchester City. Leicester, Manchester City are better, so I'm going for them to win. Only just about, though, because Leicester are on good form. Moving on to the next game, it's Newcastle United at home against Aston Villa. And obviously, I support Newcastle United. It is at St James's Park. I'm going to predict this 1-0 to Newcastle. Now, Aston Villa, they won it 4-0 against Brentford at their home ground. But Brentford, they also lost to Newcastle 5-1. So this, I think, is going to be a very close game. Steven Gerrard obviously sacked. Newcastle on amazing form after a 2-1 away win against Spurs. Apparently, according to Eddie Howe, Newcastle United's best display of performance since he was manager. That's probably the best display in half a decade of performance. And there at St James's Park, I just think Newcastle, they're on amazing form. Aston Villa have only just got onto this form, but it could definitely be a draw. But at St James's Park, just feels like Newcastle to win it. Moving on, Bournemouth are home at the Vitality Stadium against Tottenham Hotspur, 3-0 to Spurs. I just do not rate Bournemouth. I still think they're going to go down. They obviously lost 2-0 against West Ham, which was an unfortunate loss for them. But they have been picking up results just before the loss against West Ham. But I think that West Ham loss is going to continue. Tottenham are going to be wanting to get some points in this game, at least 3 minimum for them. And even at Vitality Stadium, Spurs, they're better than Bournemouth, massively better. There's no way Bournemouth can even get a goal, in my opinion. Spurs are going to absolute batter against Bournemouth. Moving on to the next game, Brighton are home against Chelsea. Now, this is obviously going to be a very interesting fixture. After Chelsea have Graham Potter, and obviously he used to manage Brighton, and Chelsea have gone undefeated. I'm going to predict this 1-0 to Chelsea. I think it could be 0-0. It could be one of those 0-0 draws. I don't think it's going to be a loss for Chelsea. There's either be a draw, which will be 0-0, or 1-0 to Chelsea. I'm going 1-0 Chelsea purely because of the amazing form that Graham Potter's put in. And Graham Potter was half the reason Brighton were doing so well. So for that reason, Chelsea, they have more qualities than Brighton, and they're going to win it. Moving on to the next game, it's Crystal Palace, who are home against Southampton. I'm going to predict this 2-1 to Palace. I know Palace lost 3-0 against Everton, and yes, that was a very bad loss. But Palace, they're a good team. They've got Patrick Vieira. He knows his way around football. They've got Wilfried Zaha, who just had so much techers to the team. Eze, Elise, all those big names doing really well in the attack. They're definitely going to score, especially at home with the management of Patrick Vieira. And Gay and Anderson at the back, it's decent defence as well. Against Southampton, who are inconsistent. Yes, they got a point against Arsenal, but you don't know which Southampton's going to turn up. And Palace, I think they're better than Southampton. And I'm going to say the Southampton side to turn up next time is going to be a bad Southampton. Or maybe not necessarily bad, they're just not going to get the result, Southampton. Moving on to the next game, Brentford are home against Wolves. I'm going to predict this 0-0. They both got thrashed last game, and I think they're both going to be fighting. And Wolves, they seem to never score goals, but they also like to keep it very low scoring other than last game. So I'm going to go 0-0. They both got thrashed, so if they both got thrashed the same result, then I'm going to predict a draw. They're both on bad form, they're both going to be fighting for it, and it's just either end just too similar. Moving on to the next game, Fulham home against Everton. I'm going to do this 2-1 to Everton. Now, Fulham, they obviously got a good win against Leeds, but it's only because the back four at Leeds were all over the place. They didn't know what they're doing. And that's probably why Fulham managed to capitalise on that. I think Mitrovic is a class striker. I think he would get a goal here. But Fulham going to be surprised to a good form Everton. Even away Everton, I think Everton are starting to return. And they're going to get this win just about 2-1. Moving on to the next game, Liverpool are home against Leeds United. Liverpool are a very, very good team. A step from last game, which they lost against last place Nottingham Forest 1-0. I'm going to still predict this 3-1 to Liverpool. I think Leeds have to improve. Their back four is their main terribleness. I thought they were going to do fine. I think they were going to comfortably finish in 14th, but they didn't. They lost 3-2 against Fulham, and away against Liverpool, they're going to be fighting for it. They've also won against Man City, Liverpool, so why can't Liverpool win against Leeds? I think Leeds will take the lead. I think Leeds have got a good team. I rate Jesse Marsch, but the back four's just all over the place. Liverpool are going to have a goal fest this game. Moving on to the next game, it is a whole new day on the 30th of October. It's going to be Arsenal at home against Nottingham Forest. I'm going to predict a 2-0 win to Arsenal. Arsenal obviously only drew 1-1 against Southampton, and Nottingham Forest won 1-0 against Liverpool. This time, Arsenal at home, and to be honest, Forest, they only really get these scrappy wins when they're at their Nottingham ground, that roaring ground, that they're not there. Arsenal are. They're going to be thinking, we need to pick up 3 points to get this title, and they're going to do so, because Nottingham Forest, they lost 4-0 to Leicester, and they're in 17th, so don't see why Arsenal can't win against Nottingham Forest. Moving on to the next game, Manchester United are at home against West Ham United. Now, I was going to go for a 2-2 draw, but Manchester United, I'm going to predict it 2-1. I think Man United, they are a good team when they want to be. They also got a good draw against Chelsea. I don't think they would win against Chelsea purely because Chelsea are unbeaten. But home against West Ham, they're at home at the home ground. You know, they're going to be wanting to pick up 3 points. And West Ham, they had a shaky very start of the season. And I think overall, Man United are slightly better, on that slightly better form. But it could easily be a draw, of course. That will end my today's predictions. Before I do end, I actually did do my predictions. Thing is, I took around 30 seconds doing these predictions. I didn't actually do it on video, on camera. I just did it in my own time. And I did terrible. That's why you should not think about your predictions for 30 seconds. I did this 30 seconds. I only got 3 points out of 20. And I'm overall on 67 points out of 232 points. And it was just a terrible week. But anyways, hopefully you can like and subscribe. And always remember to turn the notifications so you miss one of my fantastic YouTube videos. I'll see you next time. Toodaloo now.